Let's settle in. Just taking a moment to find the body and space. Just feel it just sinking into all the weird tingles and creaks and cracks and the way the skin feels under the clothes, the way the belly settles. Just tuning into our senses, smelling the incense, hearing the noises coming from me and from the room, from the street. The colors or the shapes behind the eyes. Grounding, we're grounding. And then getting a sense of what's in the heart. What really we've brought here with us today. A bit of sadness or a bit of joy, a bit of fear or anxiety, a bit of relief, happiness. Recognizing that we really do contain multitudes. There's not one singular emotion or thought pattern or past karmic activity at work. But in order for us to see it all clearly, to be with ourselves and accept ourselves as we are, we have to build a center. We have to be our own refuge. As we move into silent meditation today, I'll just offer a visualization that can be used as an anchor. You can also anchor to your normal meditation object, like the breath at the nose or the breath at the belly, an aspirational phrase or feeling in the body. But just imagine for a moment in your core, at your center, is a beautiful, tall, transparent glass vase, a vessel. You can see through it, you can see what's in there. It has a lot of capacity. And just imagine that it's filled with, you might have seen something like this as a child or a young person. Imagine that it's filled with these imperfect layers of colored sand. And that it builds up this gorgeous sort of rainbow effect. Some colors, some piles of sand are beautifully blue, some are green, some are larger, some are smaller. They overlap, they complement and interrupt each other. But the overall effect is it's like a piece of art. Like a piece of art that shows us what we've lived through, what we've gathered, what we've been and seen and loved. And when the mind wanders off, if you wish, you can come back to this image, this sense. If it helps, if it resonates, and if not, just let it go. And allow your anchor to be what works for you. Okay, just starting with some readings from Ajahn Chah. These are just like little paragraphs, one page, one paragraph bits. We want to take the easy way, but if there's no suffering, there's no wisdom. To be ripe for wisdom, you must really break down and cry in your practice at least 3 times. At least 3. He says, we don't become monks to eat well, sleep well, and be very comfortable, but to know suffering, how to accept it, how not to cause it. So don't do that which causes suffering, like indulging in greed, or it will never leave you. Um, Good morning. Just really appreciating this community today, these kind people. And one of the reasons that I just really appreciate this community is there is a reliability here um, that for the most part, no, barring sheets of ice, we're here when we say we're going to be here. You know, um, we're doing what we say we're going to be doing. There's a meditation and some kind of conversation. There's a reliance, a focus on the teachings of the Buddha, the integrity that we bring to our practice and our lives, kindness and generosity. When we come here, we're really relying on those things to be in place. And that's why it feels good to come here. Usually, or for the most part, or for most people. And, reliability is something that Longpo Pasano, who's been doing this for 50 years and is he's an advisor to our community and he's a teacher to many of us. And something that you'll hear him say or demonstrate over and over is how important being reliable really is. That when we say we're going to do something, we do it. When we say we're going to be somewhere, we're there. There's a care and a heedfulness in that really can't be replicated in any other way. than by following through on what we say we're going to do. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful to be able to trust that and trust people in that way. Uh, I know for myself, I can get anxious or forgetful or overwhelmed or underslept, and the things that I said I was going to do or decided to do or wanted to do when I had more energy somehow become a thing of the past. And it's not, there's no ill intent there, but maybe a lack of mindfulness, maybe not knowing myself as well as I could or should. There was a period, when I was, there was a period when I was volunteering a lot here. Okay. I've always volunteered a lot here. But there was a period when I realized that I wasn't really as reliable as I could be. And I needed to work on that. And what it looked like was actually committing to less, right? Just if I could stop that little part of my brain that volunteered for things before I knew what I was saying, uh, then I could follow through on the things that I really wanted to do, that I was really willing to do. And that was hard for me because I'm a real yes person. How can I put you in my time today? It was kind of how I looked at everything. Can I could just give a little bit more? Can I just do a little bit more? Um, can I just make another person happy? And but then I realized there were a lot of, that my sort of commitments were like Swiss cheese that I would get to the day of, the thing of, the piece where the follow through needed to come, and it was not where I wanted it to be. And mostly, I'm thinking of my teacher. I'm thinking of Longpo Passano. Just okay, you have to be reliable. And so it was a balance, of bringing that mindfulness to my promises and bringing my mindfulness to the planning and then bringing mindfulness and carefulness to the follow through. And then again, reflecting, did, did I, how did I, how did I, um, how did I care for that whole process? And it's important that we do that. And I'm not telling anyone in this room to do less. I'm not crazy. Nor am I admonishing anyone in this room, actually. This is not about, you necessarily, or even me. I just experienced recently I had a couple of experiences in other parts of my life where I recognized that I could not rely on people. And it felt kind of devastating. Like this is really difficult. And it adds a lot of way of being in the world to have to also carry this like lack of trust or unreliability, and then sort of deciding how to move through that. Uh, and then like today, Anya couldn't be here. She was sick, the kids program leader. And I remembered months ago when this little birdie, Jessica Marlett, said, you know, I can help out if you need me to. If it, if something comes up where you need an extra adult, I can help out. And be careful who you say that to, especially someone who can keep a lot of things in different parts of their brain. And so, we found out this morning that Anya wouldn't be able to be here, and Julia was kind of nervous, worried, even though she's perfectly capable and trained and all the things, right? But just to be able to say, oh, hey, there's a person who's willing to step in and help out. You could see her whole body just settle, you know. Oh, okay, okay. And she rallied and she got her bag of stuffies and she started thinking about all the things that have to happen for the kids program. But it did take that kind of like just that little bit of, no, we got you, you're capable, but also we've got people that you can rely on, So it's just kind of this sweet, I don't, stressful. But once we started leaning into the help that had been offered and asking for that help and picking it up and following through on it, actually, there was a lot of really wonderful energy in it. We could immediately, almost immediately let go of that feeling of, oh no, I've been abandoned. I can't do this. And move toward, oh man, somebody's got me. And in this practice, in this tradition, there's a big emphasis on building independence. It's all an inside job. When we sit down on our cushion and close our eyes, nobody's monitoring what's going on in there. I wish sometimes I had that level of accountability. But nobody's monitoring it. In fact, nobody's monitoring us at home. Whatever we're doing with our practice, we're making that commitment on our own. We're following through in whatever way that we choose to or think is good or right or useful or skillful or whatever. And we're also developing an independence from our conditions. Oh, the world is turning on its axis. I can be, with some practice and heedfulness and carefulness, I can be still. I can be centered. And we're spending a lot of time just developing this independence from our conditions. And the Buddha said, good friendship is the whole of the holy life. That's part of it. It's a famous adage from a famous sutta, and there's a lot more to it than that. But it's worth remembering that we can be reliable, that we can be good friends to each other. We can be good friends to people outside of this room, outside of this practice. We can be good friends to ourselves. We can learn to rely on our own word. I think that's what the piece was for me during that period, was not that I was perceived to be failing by other people, but I could see for myself that I wasn't following through on my commitments in the way that was right for me. And so again, it's that even though we're interdependent, we're good friends, we're here to help each other out, hold each other up, be there for each other. Ultimately, we're always coming back to what we can bring, to ourselves, what we can bring to others, how we fulfill our own commitments, and building that independence from our conditions. And so it's like, it's like that very famous analogy of the raft. Like, you build a raft because you need it. You build a raft, you get on it, you sail it across the river. But once you get across, you don't keep carrying the raft, right? And so that's the big kind of, that's the big picture in this framework is, when do we need a raft? When do we need other people? When do we need community? When do we need supports? When do we need accountability? And when have we reached some kind of independence? Our practice is strong. Our friendship is strong. Our integrity is strong. Our commitments are strong. And it just takes time. It takes time and it takes reflection. So, again, finding myself so grateful for reliable people and reliable friends. And, more than that, even people who know their own boundaries. You can't be reliable to others if you don't know when to stop and when to start. It's really important. Um, Grateful for this framework, for this building, um, for having a kid, for the kids program. They're, kind of a crucial element. And like Ajahn Chah said here, that suffering piece, suffering is where wisdom arises. So we had this little panic, right? Oh, no, Anya, Julie's on her own. Kind of late notice, not sure. Can I do it? Oh, look, where can we turn? What's the wisdom here? Oh, the wisdom is community. The wisdom is helpers. The wisdom is congeniality. The wisdom is recentering. But we couldn't have seen or felt all of that this morning without the little knock. Something's gone wrong. When something goes wrong, then we get to turn to what is right. And that is a moment of being awake. That is a moment of seeing what is beautiful. That is hard to remember. But I saw it for myself today, and I'm saying it out loud. So the next time there's a knock or a problem or an issue or an unreliable whatever, I know where to turn. There's always a place to turn.